Hello, everyone. I'm just going into more of the Nova reveals. So, guess what? We have our official reveal for the Slaves to Darkness. Now, while I say official because, as probably anyone who's been paying attention, they technically got a lot of this stuff got revealed like literally months ago. And again, as probably a lot of you probably found out at some point or another, that was probably because of one of the biggest leaks I think GW has had in a very long time. Like they this a lot of this stuff here was off. Like you probably remember, like the horns of a shoot got leaked, the new demon prince got leaked, the new chosen got leaked. Pretty much the whole book, almost in terms of pictures, got leaked way ahead of schedule. It actually leaked so fast. Actually, so much got leaked that they actually gave they actually put out like an article that just gave a little tidbit of how the rules for the new demon prince would work. Like, yeah, like I know, like I'm pretty certain GW intentionally leaked stuff on purpose, but I'm almost 100% sure that was not supposed to happen. So, yeah, someone probably got in trouble behind the scenes there, but I digress. Here's the official release. So we got our little video right here. That's all good. But getting into it, so wow, I just want to say, like, if this is the actual release box for the new models, they are really stepping up their game here. Like, I think this is one of the most artful cover box decoration I've seen in a very long time. Like, look at that here. Like this, and I'm also, and getting into it, I'm really liking the redesign for the Chaos Chosen. Like, they really give off a sense of menace right here. And like the old models, don't get me wrong, were good, but when you started to look, we started to compare them to a lot of the stuff that was coming up, like the Stormcast, and even some of the heavier hitters from the other armies. Excuse me. Like they were really starting to fall behind here. Like they kind of just looked a little. I don't know. Like they're supposed to be the Chaos Chosen. Like the Hammer of Archeon, and I don't know. They were kind of looking less intimidating than Liberators, and even rule wise they were. But now, well, look what we got here. So as you can see, this is what's coming up in the new box set coming for them. Because another thing we need to keep in mind, the majority, because the reason this is only thing here because the majority of the stuff that's coming up in the new book, a lot of that were basically Warcry models that were getting ported over. So we've already seen the horns of a shoot. We've already seen that new Minotaur, stuff like that. So beyond the war, basically besides the Warcry stuff, this is all the new models we're getting in the new book. The only thing we haven't seen an official release for is that new character, the first blade of Bellicor, I think he was called. Anyway, he's basically going to be the champion of Bellicor, and he's pretty much the only model left that hasn't got an official article about him yet. So expect him soon. Now, I must say, I actually do what they're going with it. So, like first said, so with Warcry, we had the Chaos Legionaries. They got released that new hero option for the Slaves to Darkness, like the four-armed Minotaur guy. They're all basically they'll fight for anybody, but their main loyalty is to Bellicor. And I think this, so basically, I think what we're getting with the Slaves to Darkness book is we're kind of getting like a kind of duality appearing between those who follow Archeon and those who follow Bellicor. And it's becoming more and more pronounced because now Bellicor actually has official mortal followers now that follow him more than Archeon. Like they'll obviously still fight for Archeon, but their ultimate loyalty is to him. So that's probably going to be the ongoing narrative with them going forward, as both sides start to like raise forces that are loyal to them. And there's like I wouldn't doubt if there might not be like maybe like next summer there's a campaign where it's like Bellicor versus Archeon, like, and they both fight for control of the 8 points. Like I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened, but a guy can dream. So here is the new Demon Prince. Again, we already know what he looks like because remember he got leaked months ago, so we already saw it right here. Like it's basically going to be like there's going to be like different head options. There's going to be like an option to have him go wingless. Yeah, overall I really like the new design. The old Demon Prince was good and all, but I think I think this new bulkier design looks nice, and I really like the different head options. Now, another thing too, I'm just kind of wondering if there's going to be like a 40, like more 40K conversion, because the other Demon Prince had that, in that you could make one that definitely has more. It was more technological looking to like fit more into 40K more. I wonder if this one does too, but we'll find out. So yeah, here's the new head options, one for the each god. So another thing I actually do also like about the Slave Start is they're really like pushing the whole idea of undivided more. Like, like you could be loyal to the Chaos gods or just to Chaos as a concept, and that's actually I think why they brought Be'lakor more in, because they more than anything, he's actually more and more being seen as the answer to this. Like when people ask, oh well, how do undivided demon princes come into existence? Because there's no one's there to uplift them. That was all, like that was always the excuse why we never saw those in 40K. Well, now they're answering that. Well, Be'lakor is the one uplifting them, like, or like not like Chaos Knights in 40K. Well, undivided, it's Be'lakor is their patron. So yeah, he's kind of like being shown as like not less a demon prince and more like a minor deity. Like that's how they're kind of shifting him. Like he's a minor chaos deity rather than just another demon prince, which I think is a good thing too, because remember, he's the first prince, he's the first demon prince. He's not just any old demon prince. Just putting that out there. And another, oh yeah, these guys right here. Yeah, like look at that. Yeah. I'm expecting a rules update for these guys right here too. Because those ones, like, yeah, I'm assuming these are probably going to be like elite killers, like, like probably like multi-damage swings with each blow, tough armor. Yeah, no, like this is looking good. Like, yeah, this is what Chaos Chosen should be. Like, they should look actually even more intimidating than Chaos Warriors. And for a long time, that actually really, even with the old models, that wasn't the case. I always thought the Chaos Warriors almost looked like more tanky than the Chosen. Well, I'm glad they finally corrected that. And then we have the Ogroids. So for a very long time, there's a thing in 40K, the Ogroids as a race was always like talked about, like it was always talked about like more than you would expect. Like, we had the Thaumaturge that was in in the Disciples of Tzeentch. We had like the Ogroid Myrmidon, who was in who was like it was the Warcry edition, who entered the Slave's Darkness. Like they lore wise, they had a very big impact, but they were always so limited. Like it was only just a couple of heroes. Well, now they finally have their own unit. So, and I wouldn't actually be surprised if there was a way to make these battle line to an extent. You could have like a whole army of them, because because here's the thing, lore wise, it's really cool with them. Like they were once a race that worshipped Gorka Morka. They were actually part of the Grand Alliance of Destruction, but they in a way, I guess you could say they betrayed Gorka Morka to an extent, so they had to flee to Chaos to escape his wrath. Like it's more complicated than that. I suggest you check it out, but it's a really interesting story, and this allows them to like really expand more as a race, as a concept. So we're gonna have like basically heavy support units, like heavy hitters. So because which I think makes sense too, because for a long time Slaves to Darkness didn't really have like a proper shock trooper. Like I know some people say, well, of course they did. That was like like the or the Vanguard, like the Vanguard were the shock troopers, but or the Chaos Knights were, or the old Chosen were. Well, no, a lot of the times those were cavalry, or not really covering the thing. Like I think Slaves of Darkness, they needed like a unit that isn't a monster, but could like legitimately go toe to toe with like things like ogres and minotaurs and stuff like that. Like, so that's what these guys are. They're the non cavalry shock troops that like, so basically when Gloomspite gets come at you and you got like a bunch of trolls coming at me, well, that's what these guys are for. They're the ones who are gonna go head to head with all the legitimate heavy hitters. So I like that. So beyond that, there really isn't much else to say. So they finally revealed all the stuff for the rest of the year. So Disciples of Tzeentch and Luminative Realm Wars, everyone saw that coming. And the two destruction armies are actually Ogre Mawtribes and Sons of Behemat. Which is a little surprising, because a lot of people, me included, thought one of them would have been Gloomspite Gits, but I guess not. But the truth is, I did kind of see this coming, and a lot of people pointed it out that the Gloomspite Gitz already got a bit of a minor update from the most recent errata. So I'm not surprised they didn't get this because, as people point out, generally armies that get those kind of erratas probably aren't getting a book anytime soon because otherwise, what was the point of even doing that? They could have just waited another month. So overall, I think Gloomspite Gitz are at a better place than they were, but they do need a new book. Like there's no getting around it. Like the new updates were fine, they were good. I'm not saying they were bad. I actually like the updates, but again, it's a classic example. You're putting band-aids on an open on an open wound here. Like it's only you got to get in there and fix the underlying problems. Like they don't hit hard enough. They're was still way too fragile as an overall army. Like they don't have enough like objective contesting shenanigans. Like they need more stuff like that. Like and oh yeah, and more than anything, they need to update like the squigs in general, make them a little less random because like these days all armies need effective cavalry, and I find overall the Gloomspite gets like squig cavalry, it's just not quite working, and the spider riders, they're just too like well, they're good, don't get me wrong, but they're too fragile. So anyway, as for the Sons of Bahamut, I'm actually personally I am actually glad they're getting an update because a lot of people have been finding that the book needs a little bit of a change up because some people have really, especially this edition, their utter domination of objective play is just been way too oppressive. Like they've been brought down a bit, but it's still not really what people were expecting. Like people really were expecting more of them to be like offensive juggernauts, not just some big bully who sits in on objective and is basically impossible to get off, and you just win the game just sitting on objectives. Like that's fine, but it's boring, and more like people are wising up. That's the problem also too. They're very heavily being seen as one trick ponies, and now that people are knowing what those tricks are, they're starting to come down in power, so that's good. And Ogre Mod tribes, oh boy, they need to come down as because the current book, I think people were affectionately referred to as Code Battle Tome Stonehorn. Like if you're not spamming Stonehorn, you're just not doing anything with Ogre Mod tribes. Like pretty much all the Gutbuster options are overpriced and are underperforming overall, and pretty much all of the pretty much all the Beastclaw Raiders part of the book that's just they're just completely overshadowed by the Stonehorn. Like, so yeah, the book really has some issues that the new edition has revealed, so I really hope they fix that. So overall, these are good. These are pretty good reveals. Slaves of Darkness, I'm probably most excited for, but also looking forward to the new updates. Oh, and I must say, thank you, Games Workshop, for nerfing Sentinels. Like sure, they still have their mortal wound shenanigan. That's like, that's whatever. I was never really all that concerned with their mortal wound shooting. That it can be managed. It's whatever. What I did not like was their 30-inch range, like utter ability to ignore line of sight that just basically made them like completely. What's the right word? I don't want to say kryptonite because that's a little bit too much, but just a little too well stacked to kill certain armies. Like for example, like Flesh Eater Courts, they are utterly dependent on their heroes, and then Lemoneth Realm Lords, they would just walk up, shoot over their cover, and kill all your heroes in one go. So I'm glad they changed that. So I'm actually expecting Lumineth Realm Lords to be a little less oppressive. So I'm happy with that. So anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the reveals too, and have a nice day.